In this video, I am going to explain the PostgreSQL MCP server and how to install, configure, and then use the MCP server. So I have created a user guide or a installation guide or configuration guide. So here I will provide the step-by-step walkthrough of how to install it, configure it, and use it. So I have done this on my Mac machine. Now the steps can be slightly different in case you are using Windows or some other machine, but the overall steps will remain same. Now, first thing I need to do is here, since this is on Postgres, I need to install Postgres. In case you already have a Postgres database, you can skip these steps. The first step, what I will do here is I will install PostgreSQL using Brew. So I would use Brew install PostgreSQL. Now, after this installation is done, I need to log into this database and then do some basic setup, that is creating the user and setting the password. Okay. So first thing that I'm doing is I'm just logging into this Postgres using default database, that is Postgres. After logging into this, first I will do is create a user, and the name of user is my user with password my password. So in this I'm creating a user called my user which has a password my password. Second is I'm creating a database called MyDB, whose owner is my user, which is just created. And then I will exit it. So here I'm installing Postgres. Here I'm creating the username with password, creating the database with the owner, my user. Then I will log in to this like PostgreSQL using my user and database MyDB, and then exit. So this is to test that this database, which is newly created, is working. So step one, install Postgres. Step two, create the user DB in Postgres. So this is the initial setup. Now after Postgres setup is done, we need to go to the or install the MCP PostgreSQL MCP database server. So for that we can visit this GitHub, which has all the information. So here you can see it is MCP database server. Now this will support SQL as well as SQLite, SQL Server, Postgres SQL, as well as MySQL databases. So it will support multiple databases. There are many uh, MCP servers. So I will show you the details of how many, how to get the list of MCP servers. Here I've listed many sites. You can go through any of these sites and you can get tons of MCP servers. So actually there is one MCP server created for one requirement. So for many requirements, there are many MCQ servers. Now here the steps are given. Let's first see what is this GitHub repo about. Here you can see it has 163 stars. There are 46 forks, and it is having the permissive license, that is MIT license. Now, if you see the steps is you need to clone this repository, change to this directory, and then perform these two steps. That is npm install and npm run build. So these are the same steps that I have followed. First is I'm cloning the repository. You can see the repository is cloned. Then I will just cd to this directory and then npm install. So the installation is taking place here. Installation is complete. After installation is done, I will run npm run, which is fairly simple. After that, you can see it is built. Now, in these steps, or in this step, that is step number 3, we have cloned the repo, installed the install and build the MCP server, which can support multiple databases. Now we want to run MCP database server for PostgreSQL. So we need to run this MP server for PostgreSQL, which we have just installed. Now for that, the command is node. Now this is the path in the same directory where this MCP server is installed. So you need to give it is from that path. It's a relative path. So there is a file called index.js, and then we are saying I want to use Postgres. The host is localhost because it is installed on this local host, and the database is the database that I've just created, and the user is the user that created, and the password is my password. So basically, here what I'm trying to do is I'm running the MCP database server for PostgreSQL. So in case you want to run it for some other databases, so this command will be different. Here we have to provide the necessary connection details. Now here you can see PostgreSQL connection established successfully, server is running. So we have to keep it running, the server running, so that the MCP client can interact with this MCP server. So I'm going to open the terminal. Here I'm going to run the same command. So I'll just show you, this is the path where this MCP server is installed. And if you see, these are the files related to that. And under dist, there is a folder called src. There is a file called index.js. So I'm going to run this. So here you can see it has started and you can see server is running. Now this should be running all the time so that the client can interact with this server. Okay, leave this running. Now here you can see it is running. So the next step is we need to have a MCP client which will be interacting with this MCP server. Now the most common MCP or the easiest MCP client is the cloud desktop. So cloud is like ChatGPT and we can install the cloud. So I have already installed the cloud desktop. So this will act as a client. So what we have to do, small configuration to point this client to the corresponding server, the server that is running here. So for that, there is a configuration. So this is the configuration that I need to use to configure this client. So here you can see what I'm trying to do is I'm just pointing to this index.js file, PostgreSQL, and I am giving the necessary connection details. Uh, so in this client, we need to go to the like profile and then settings. So here under developer, there is a config file called edit config. So all that you need to do is just click on edit config, open it in any editor, and then paste these values. So here, whatever this configuration is there is the same as this one. So this one is curated according to this. Now, in case we want to configure some other MCP server, then we have to, this path will be different, the database will be different, and the connection details will be different, but the basic format will remain same. So this is the same configuration that is given. Now this will help identify cloud desktop identify the MCP server which is running. So here you can see this is a PostgreSQL. This is added because of entry in the edit config. So here you can see the path where it is running. So this is the path. Now here you should see it is running, then only you can use it. Now what I will do is I'll just click on this new chat. Now here whatever I type, so if it is related to the database, it will ask whether it should connect to the MCP server. Okay. So here also you can just click here and see what all MCP servers are there. So we have a MCP server called PostgreSQL. If I just click on this, you can see what all functions are available. Like it can read the query, write query, create table, alter table, drop table, export list, and so on. So basically, it can do anything and everything related to the database. And in case we want to disable it, we can disable it from here. So for now, I will enable it. Now what I want to do is, I want to interact with the Postgres that I've just installed using Cloud Desktop, which will act as a MCP client. So here I will just like run some, give a prompt, list all the tables. So now what it will do is I'm asking about the table. So it is now using this table function called underscore tables. Now these are the tables which are coming from the Postgres that is installed. So this Postgres. Okay. So here I want in a tabular format. I want the output in tabular format. So it will give you the details in the tabular format. Okay, so these are the tables. Now I can ask, show me the records related to the any of specific tables. I can drop the table, I can create it, I can do all sorts of operations. So for example, I will say list the contents of I would say customers tables and products table. List the contents of customers table and products table. So it is using a read query to read it. Again, read, describe table, describe. It is understanding the schema, getting the contents of the table. So it's a simple customer table and simple products table. Okay, it is displayed. Now what I want is, so here customer. Okay, now I want to join the tables. So what I will do is I will just say, show me the list of customer along with products. Let's try it. Show me list of customers and the products they bought. So here it is doing like sequence of operation. It is describing the table. Then it is like first it will try to understand the relationship, etc. And then it will formulate the query and then it will read the contents. See here. So it has combined two tables, the customer table and the order table or the product table. And here you got a the output of a join query. So like this, we can ask like give any prompt related to the tables. It will understand the format, schema, etc., and then give you the curated response. So here, this MCP server is doing all the heavy lifting, and then we can just use some MCP client, or we can use any application that will serve as MCP client and interact with this MCP server. So this MCP server is for Postgres. There are many MCP servers which are available for many different purposes. So I will just quickly show the MCP servers. I'll just open this link. What all MCP servers are available. So here, if you just scroll, there are MCP servers for anything and everything. So you can just see how many MCP servers are there. So for example, if you want to know for Postgres, you just type for Postgres. See, PostgreSQL is one of them. Then there is something Avon, and there is Alibaba Analytics for PostgreSQL, and so on. MCP Toolbox for databases, Neon, and so on. So in the same way, you can try for Oracle. So these are the MCP servers related to Oracle. You can try for Elasticsearch. See, this is the MCP server for Elasticsearch. You can try for APIs also. You can try. So there are MCP servers for API integration also. So whatever you think of, the MCP servers are already there, and there are like these MCP servers are continuously developed, and you can refer to any of these sites to get the list of MCP servers, and you can visit its GitHub link to get the instructions, and then all that we need to do is just run some few commands, and then we need to use this configuration for cloud desktop in case we want to use cloud desktop as the MCP client. So in this video, we have seen like how to install the Postgres DB and configure, how to install the MCP server and how to run the MCP server for Postgres, how to configure the cloud desktop and how to use cloud desktop for giving the prompt. So here I've just pasted some example like list all the tables. Then initially the tables were not there. I asked it to create, so it has created so many tables. So all these things like I've also tried to drop a test table. It is able to drop the table. So it can do all sorts of operations, be it DQL, data query language, data manipulation language, or DCL, data creation language, and so on, or data control language. So all types of queries can be executed, but in case we want to restrict it, we can restrict it to certain operations. Thank you for watching this video.